long-term contract extensions, a big-time betting board breakdown, and a juicy start, stash, and drop segment on the latest edition of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Let's get this paper.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, my fantasy fanatics? Welcome back inside the lab to your daily 30-minute source for all things fantasy hockey. It is the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, and I'm privileged to be joined by my distinguished co-host, Mr. Steele Rodin. On this side of the microphone, it's your boy, Big Flip Livingstone, still giving that love to the everydayers who continue to hold us down and make us your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by our good old pals at FanDuel Sportsbook. Download the FanDuel app today by visiting FanDuel.com, where new customers get $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 wager hits. This betting board tonight, Mr. Rodin, has me fired up. I'm ready to go. I've got 5 picks. I got a same-game parlay. I'm ready to pop off, and I know you've been red hot with the picks. Before we get there, start, stash, drop with 3 struggling players that this is going to be an interesting conversation that we will have. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Adam Fantilli, and Steven Stamkos. But we got a couple of big-time extensions. Over to you. You know how I feel about Thomas Harley. I know how you feel about Logan Cooley. Let's talk about the Dallas Stars rear guard and his fantasy value.
Yeah, what a payday that is for the young gun on the blue line. Just, right there alongside Miro Heiskanen as well. 8-year deal, $10.587 million AAV. So it comes to a total of basically just under $85 million over the span of those 8 years. And you're seeing some monster contracts. Honestly, with the way he's playing, you would think that he'd be up there maybe closer to the 11 million mark, but just a phenomenal deal. Jim Neal knows how to get these contracts done. And, it's still Jason Robertson out there as well. They've got so many guys just locked up long-term right now. Yes. Jake Ottinger, Heiskanen, Harley now, Mikko Rantanen, Wyatt Johnston as well. You have some expiring contracts ending with Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin soon, so that will open the gates for them to maybe make some more maneuvers to help them down the road. But this is a phenomenal team. I know they've struggled at times throughout the month of October. The one thing I want to say about Thomas Harley, and again, maybe it's the caveat with what I've been saying with Miro Heiskanen, is sometimes that fantasy value doesn't transfer over with the way he plays the game for the team. He's a phenomenal defenseman. He blocks shots. He knows how to move the puck up the ice with precision, with his incredible decision-making as well. He can join the rush. He can be on the first or second power play unit. Again, the thing that I've been talking about with Miro Heiskanen over the last few years now is the overhype, the name brand that comes with it now. So I think when you talk about fantasy hockey and the perspective that way, it doesn't transfer over quite as much. He's still an incredible fantasy piece, but he's not going to be a player. And again, maybe after the season, he'll prove me wrong. He's off to a great start this year. 8 points in 10 games. Like I said, 30 blocks, but 11 shots, 5 hits to go with it. The peripherals don't jump off the page immediately when it comes to this player, but his presence jumps off the page immediately with how he plays for the Dallas Stars.
I totally respect your take on this situation, and I just respectfully disagree in terms of the long-term trajectory for this player. However, what you're saying isn't inaccurate, and it's not wrong. This is just my personal take on it. You proved me wrong about Miro Heiskanen, and you clearly know what you're talking about because you usually outperform me in our leagues. So I'm not here to disagree. I will say this. When you are on a team like the Dallas Stars and you have the benefit of Thomas Harley's the surroundings, then I just have a little bit more love for what's going on with this player. I love the contract. And I will say this. When he was the first option for Team Canada when Shea Theodore went down at the Four Nations, and that doesn't mean he's going to produce for your fantasy team.
Speaks volumes, though.
That tells me that we haven't even seen this kid's best. And what's intriguing and what's kind of frustrating, if you did kind of drink the Kool-Aid like me this year, Miro Heiskanen on that top power play unit right now, and him being the second power play rear guard with Esa Lindell, is obviously a little frustrating. However, that is not set in stone. You mentioned this team also just kind of being so far this season, 6-3-1. I just expect so much more. So I'll say this about Thomas Harley. We haven't seen his best. We haven't seen the Stars' best this year. I love the contract, and I think there is nothing but a high ceiling for this player. How about this Utah Mammoth Club, however, if you're okay with it? Because you and I spoke a lot about it in the offseason. Dedicated hockey heads were all over the Gunthers, the Vemelkas of the world. Mikhail Sergachev has been what Mikhail Sergachev has been. 16 points for this team, Steele. 40 goals for. That's second in the Western Conference, and Logan Cooley is a big part of that with this $80 million contract. At 21 years old, he leads the team with 12 points in 11 games. What's your take on Logan Cooley, this Mammoth Club, and the extension? Because this team is really starting to cook offensively.
Well, first, Nick Schmaltz leads the team with 17 points in the 10 games. Logan Cooley running, he's tied with 3 players. Dylan Guenther, Clayton Keller, all at 12 points. He's been on a phenomenal run in his last 5 games. 9 points in his last 4. Some of the goals and the playmaking that I've seen through him over that span has just been absolutely incredible. And I thought it was ridiculous when he turned down the original deal of $9.5 million. A couple weeks or a month ago. I thought that was ridiculous from Logan Cooley, but the way he's playing right now, he's definitely worth $10 million averagely every single AAV every single season. And when you look at what Utah has been able to do, and this has been a long rebuild. Obviously, years ago with the Arizona Coyotes, they move. They moved to Utah. It's a new situation, new scene for them. They've got incredible players locked up. And I kind of relate it again somewhat to the Dallas Stars, but also to the Florida Panthers. They've got key guys locked up, through 2030, for multiple years now. Logan Cooley, his contract won't end until 2033. Sergachev is locked in until 2030. Keller's got a few more years, but he'll probably re-sign and lock up for long term. Gunther's locked in for 2032. JJ Peterka locked in till 2029. Jack McBain, who brings that banger league beauty on the, in the bottom 6. This is going to be a really good team. And I know they kind of got slapped around by the Edmonton Oilers in the second half of that game the other day. But Karel Vemelka looked really good up until that point too. So this is a very strong team. Logan Cooley has been an absolute force to be reckoned with to start this season, especially down the stretch right here. He's currently ranked at 71st in Yahoo rankings in our leagues right now, but he's just been absolutely incredible. The way he's been able to be so creative in the offensive zone, the power plays clicking now too. He's a special player, and definitely this is a contract that I think it's great for both sides.
Thank you so much for alluding to that power play, because right now at 21.1% proficiency, and, I'm not going to try and break down these ties here, but they're still outside of the top 10. If that starts to continue to go, my goodness me, this team's going to be even harder to deal with. And those check boxes for elite level fantasy production are going to start to fill out with a number of these players. And they have young pieces on the way as well. We talked about that. And we got to get the boys from the Clean Hits podcast back on here, because they do really know what they're talking about when it comes to Utah Mammoth hockey. And I guess all that needs to be said about Harley and Cooley is 2 young players on the come up on 2 good teams. Not like the Dallas Stars are on the come up, but you know what I'm getting at. Let's do start, stash, drop. Right after the break, a huge, juicy Thursday night betting board on the way. I've got a whole bunch of picks that I want to serve up for you guys so you can put some money in that pocketbook, just like my boy Steele. However, you know where we're putting those bets down. It is at our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Today is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA, it's back. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you missed the start of a game or want to ride out a hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks, triple doubles, hashtag Nikola Jokic, you name it. You can continue to get your live bets in a same game parlay at a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 wager hits. Head to FanDuel.com, sign up today, play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button. leave a 5-star review for your boys here, Flip, Livingstone, and Steele. Rodin, we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for all that love. Start, stash, and drop, Flip. We got players who are just, they're struggling right now. And, maybe you're kind of debating, internally. Maybe you've talked with friends about what to do with these guys. Adam Fantilli, Steven Stamkos, Pierre-Luc Dubois. In Dubois' case, I do believe he missed 4 or 5 games there. Maybe I believe he was injured. So that brings into a part. But again, he hasn't been great when he has been in the lineup either. Even though Washington has been pretty solid. I'll throw it back over to you, Flip. With these 3 guys, who's the player that you would keep and that you have, you don't want to lose faith in, you want to hold on to them and just keep giving them that chance every single night?
When you look at PLD, no points through 5 games in the injury, 2 points for Stamkos through 11, and Adam Fantilli, 5 points through 9. I think on paper, it's pretty clear that it's a start and keep for Adam Fantilli, but it's not just that for me. And, you and I like to do these because we want to serve up different angles, because in shallower leagues with less GMs, you probably were considering giving up on Adam Fantilli as well, but I'm here to say don't do that. And, for me, it's got to be keep or start Adam Fantilli. That second line, I spoke about it yesterday, Boone Jenner, Kent Johnson, this Columbus Blue Jackets team. And we know we're ahead of the Wednesday game right now of Columbus and Toronto. And I really would like to watch him live for a full game, even though the Jays will be on, and that's going to be tricky. This Columbus Blue Jackets team, I think, is really getting close to something good. And when you look at what their strength should be, scoring goals, in my opinion, and, they're near the bottom of the league this year at 28 goals scored. I just see so much more coming for this team. And look, they still have 10 points. So when I look at the top 6, I look at even the top 9, I really like Columbus is what I'm trying to get at here. And Adam Fantilli last year, when you look at his numbers, 113 hits, 54 points on 191 shots. I think this player at 21 years old, Steele, still has so much positive things going for him. I like his motor. I like his two-way game. Adam Fantilli, do not give up on this guy. For me, Steele, this is a clear-cut one. I really like Adam Fantilli. I like the Blue Jackets. It's a start for me with Adam Fantilli all day, even though I think 2 goals through 9 games, that's definitely a letdown after 31 last year.
Yeah, it has to be, but he is the starter out of these 3 players just because of what he brings peripherally as well, and just the potential, the high ceiling that he could possibly hit playing in that top 6 in Columbus. The goaltending's been pretty solid for them. Jet Greaves and Merzlikins, a .907 save percentage, a .915 save percentage. They've got 4 wins out of their last 5 games. So they've kind of turned it around the last, week and a half a little bit. But just what he brings to the table, like you said, 5 points in 9 games, 19 shots, 12 hits, 4 blocks. We know that he can bring that physicality like we've seen over the last few seasons, or over the last year as well, where he had his career high 54 points. He had his career high 113 hits as well. He can be that type of player. And, there's a lot of hype around this guy. And again, we've seen it with a few players who have gone high in drafts. Like, again, Alexis Lafreniere, we kind of expected him to have a good season or keep developing that way. Andrei Svechnikov talked about breakout seasons. It feels like every single year for the last 4 years. And he finally just got that monkey off his back with his first goal the other day, I believe, against the Vegas Golden Knights. But Adam Fantilli is definitely the start out of these players. Don't lose faith in him. Also, all these guys are basically under 50% right now. I believe Steven Stamkos is 52% rostered on Yahoo, which is very surprising that he's still that high. And we'll talk about him very, very soon. But I agree with you. It has to be Adam Fantilli. Don't give up on this guy. And again, maybe in those deeper formats, dynasty leagues, he could potentially still be a keeper.
I would consider it very much so. The rest of this season will determine that for sure. Right now, I think I would just auto do that. Here's my thing when I look at Steven Stamkos and Pierre-Luc Dubois, Steele, because this is a tough one. And I think when you look at 5 games in the injury for PLD and kind of how he was going there, 60 points in 81 games, 63 points in 73 games in 2023, and then last year, 66 points. I think we were really starting to see what you can expect from this player year in and year out. And him at 27 years old and giving me 60 block shots, 60 plus hits every year. And I take a look at this Nashville Predators team. And I take a look at who Steven Stamkos is playing with right now in Tyson Jost and Jonathan Marchessault. I almost immediately wanted to say the stash is Steven Stamkos. That's what I wanted to say, Steele.
Wow.
But I'm going to come on here and say it should be Pierre-Luc Dubois to stash.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit more to love about his immediate turnaround here from an injury and the Washington Capitals. And I understand that the Washington Capitals are run through Alexander Ovechkin, and he's been so-so. Pierre-Luc Dubois, he's got Protas on his left and Tom Wilson on his right. That's the other angle I'm liking
Big
here.
factors.
Pierre-Luc Dubois might be a sneaky little buy low steal. I'm not saying like go out there and trade an important piece, but if you're trying to shake things up a little bit, and we spoke about trades, I'm going to turn it back to you because I'm rambling. PLD might be a nice little shot in the dark here. If you kind of are buying into the Washington Capitals playing better, that's got to run through the top 6, and he is their second center. So I like PLD as a dirty little stash play here.
100%. I know they've lost their last 2 games, but they're in that first wild card spot, 12 points. They're 6-4-0 on the season. Again, kind of a slow start for Alexander Ovechkin. You're kind of getting a mixed bag. Tom Wilson's been their best player by far this year. Jacob Chikrin's been great on the back end. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the factors of who he's playing with, again, the 5 missed games, the 5 games he's missed so far this season with injury, 0 points in 5 games so far. He still has 9 shots, 6 hits, 3 blocks. We know that he can fill out those peripherals very high. I think it's just based on, at this point, who he's playing with compared to who Steven Stamkos is playing with. And currently he is rostered. Currently he is rostered at 36% on Yahoo. So you may be able to just go pick him up off the waiver wire, especially depending on the week Washington has upcoming as well. And we'll talk about that later on Sunday when we do our waiver wire episode.
Yes.
The stash is Pierre-Luc Dubois at this point. And, we'll talk about Steven Stamkos a little bit after the break, but there's just more opportunity for Pierre-Luc Dubois to bring that fantasy value that you need.
And take a look at this Nashville Predators team. Once again, like the numbers aren't pretty here. They have allowed the 6th or 5th most goals in the NHL this season.
Yep.
And what was their true undoing last year, amongst other things? A serious inability to generate scoring chances on the regular. And we've covered how excited we were with Stammer, Marchessault, Brady Shea coming in. It didn't work out. It's not really working out once again. And, I'm probably going to take some heat here because they're 4-5-2, 10 points, right? They're only 3 points back of the Dallas Stars. I just don't see it long term. And when you look at also what they've done in terms of generating scoring chances once again and scoring goals, Steele, they've only scored 3 more goals than the Calgary Flames. And I'm about to talk about the Calgary Flames in bets. Oh boy, it might be another long year in Nashville. I love Steven Stamkos. I think the upside is just too good with PLD, even though they're both risky. That's my take on that. Back over to you. I'm ready for bets, though. I don't have too much more to say about Steven Stamkos.
Yeah.
1 goal, 1 assist. It's the team around him that's really concerning me.
I'll bring my take after the break. Steven Stamkos and a big slate for big-time bets. But first, this episode is also brought to you by Monarch. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why we started using Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. It helped me organize my accounts, track my spending, and get a better handle on my investments without having to touch a spreadsheet. I love that I can review everything with my partner, see our shared goals, and make better financial decisions together. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Once again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review, and all the comments on the YouTube channel. We really do appreciate it. My take on Steven Stamkos before we get to bets. Yeah, of course, I'm here with you as well. I agree. He should be the drop out of these players, which is, It's funny because he's the higher rostered player out of all three that we just talked about at 52%.
The name.
But it's time to give up. It is time to give up. The Tampa Bay Lightning completely annihilated his career when they decided not to re-sign him. And obviously, I know it's a business decision. They're trying to make their team better for the future. I get that part. It was time they made that decision. However, I don't know how accurate it may be, but I did see that there could be a potential buyout for Steven Stamkos. So as I am saying right now that he is the drop option out of these three players, if he were to be bought out, and there were three teams actually, but only two that I can remember right now, two teams that could be interested: the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
Those were the teams that I saw that could be linked to him.
That's a juicy rumor.
It's juicy. It's a juicy rumor for sure. So as of right now, I suggest dropping him. It's time to give up. Nashville is not good. He hasn't been good. Like you said, 2 points, 2 points in the 11 games, a -5. He is shooting the puck, but the peripherals just aren't jumping off the page as well alongside those with blocks and hits. You got to drop Steven Stamkos right now if you're trying to win your fantasy leagues. Make sure you're staying tuned in to all the news. We'll get you all the breaking news if things were to happen with Steven Stamkos as well. Big time bets. A lot of games here, a lot of interesting games here. I'm going to throw it back over to you, my friend.
Sure.
Where are you looking first?
I'm fired up, man. I've got so many picks. You know, the other night you said on that big board that it was kind of, we didn't sink our teeth into a lot of them. They were tricky. Yeah. I totally am feeling the opposite about this one. I got a same game parlay that I'm going to start with first, if that's okay. And then I'll turn it back over to you for my final two favorite picks. The New Jersey Devils were playing sensational hockey before the Colorado Avalanche pumped Jacob Markstrom in his return. I still think this is a really good New Jersey Devils team. That was a tough spot, and the Colorado Avalanche are for real. Now, in a revenge game after getting embarrassed, they get the San Jose Sharks. And the head-to-head in the last 10 is 5-4-1 for the New Jersey Devils. However, this spot I am loving for the Devils. I'm loving it for Jack Hughes, and I'm loving it for the over because San Jose's been feeling it as well. So hit me with the Devils on the money line. Hit me with the over 6.5, and I'm going to get spicy here because what I've seen from Jack Hughes, Steele, so far, if this guy stays healthy, he's playing on another level right now. Hit me with Jack Hughes, 2+ points. This is going to get you paid out really nice, Steele, and I'm loving this angle. I could see this game being 4-3, 5-4. Yaroslav Askarov, if he's in the cage again, has looked like he's Peter Mrazek backstroking all day. He's confused. This is going to go over. If you're going to take one from this game, take the over 6.5, but I love Jack Hughes 2+ points, and I love the Devils on a bounce back after getting embarrassed to the Colorado Avalanche on the money line. Don't be shy about the puck line either. And I've got two more plays that are my favorite of the night, but back over to you.
You know, I absolutely love the 2+ point player props here. So I'm definitely throwing that into the mix. I would also take the puck line in this situation at plus 114 right now. You know what? Yeah, I'm definitely going to throw that in. However, I do have three other picks. And number one, I've got a couple puck lines here. Carolina Hurricanes on the puck line against the New York Islanders. Ilya Sorokin has been absolutely garbage. I mean, you can't beat around the bush in this situation. He's allowed 3 or more goals pretty much in every single game. He hasn't had an above 885 save percentage besides the game against the San Jose Sharks. He's been atrocious. And the New York Islanders have just been really bad as well. They give up leads. They gave up leads. They gave up a lead to the Philadelphia Flyers. They gave up a lead to the Boston Bruins the other day as well. The culture, the identity of the team is not established. So I like the Hurricanes. They're one of the better teams in that Metropolitan Division. I like the Hurricanes on the puck line at plus 116. Okay. Second pick, Minnesota Wild, and I'm getting a spicy here. Minnesota Wild on the puck line at plus 115 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Okay. This is in my opinion, this is a do or die game for a lot going on in Minnesota right now. There could be potential of Bill Guerin coming under fire and making some drastic changes immediately. John Hines' coaching job is definitely on the hot seat right now.
I could see that being the move.
The 5-on-5 play is absolutely atrocious because the only reason they've gotten by somewhat is they've had the best power play in the league. The penalty kill sucks. The 5-on-5 play sucks. Outside of Kaprizov and Boldy, which, again, the last couple of games haven't been too good. This team needs to make a drastic change. and they need a big win. And I know the Pittsburgh Penguins have been absolutely fire throughout the month of October. They need something to happen. They need to do it at home in this game. So I'm getting spicy with it. Hurricanes puck line plus 116, Wild puck line plus 142. I'm going to take the Blues at home on the money line at minus 152 against the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks just lost Connor Garland. They just lost 2-0 to the New York Rangers, which is an absolute shock in itself as well. They had Jonathan Quick in the net, not Igor Shesterkin. I like the Blues at home in this situation because they are scoring goals. They're just not able to win these games. The goaltending from Joel Hofer and Binnington hasn't been spectacular throughout the month of October. They are also a team that needs to get something done quickly because they're 3-6-1 on the season. They've lost the last 4. They need a big win. So I'm kind of going with some underdog teams here that just need big wins to boost up morale right now. And those are my picks alongside with what you said, the Jack Hughes 2+ points and the New Jersey Devils puck line.
Then let me add another one into the barrel, Steele. 7 of the last 9 games between the Detroit Red Wings and LA Kings. Guess what? Over the number. I look at this Detroit Red Wings team, and I think what they've done over their last few games. And let me just run the math. How about 11 goals over the last 2 games? And I know both were against the St. Louis Blues, but the Red Wings offense is feeling it. The LA Kings have also been one of those teams that when I look at what I think their strength should be, it's them scoring goals. They have also been kind of allowing a ton at times. Nashville a couple of nights ago, that was 5 against in a 5-4 loss. Give me the over 6.5. I love that play. My favorite pick of the night. I'll say it right now. I was wrong about this Calgary Flames team. I thought that this was going to be a team that might sneak into that top wild card spot, give other squads a tough time with what I thought was a pretty good blue line and Dustin Wolf. They are letting Dustin Wolf out to dry. My man needs a humidifier and some lotion. He's so dry. This is a bad team. And the Leafs haven't been great, but they made the Leafs look sensational at times. They're falling over each other. They can't really score. It's a mess. And then you look at what the Ottawa Senators were doing before that embarrassment to Chicago. Good win against Boston, 7 goals. Washington win, 7 goals, and a neat and tidy win against the Hot Flyers club. Ottawa at minus 160 right now. Lock daddy of the night so far, might be lock of the year. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but I wouldn't be surprised after that embarrassing loss against Chicago that this Ottawa Senators team comes out and lays out the Calgary Flames, also on an East Coast road trip. Hit me with the Ottawa Senators here at home on the money line, 6-4-0 in their last 10 against Calgary. That's my lock of the night.
Love that pick as well. The Ottawa Senators same game parlay banged out for me a couple nights ago against those Boston Bruins. So I like them in this situation as well. Those are the picks. Those are the lock of the night. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Make sure you go check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. You can get local analysis on a national scale and find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. And we'll see you back here on Sunday for another Waiver Wire episode.
Peace.